nonprofit. They're focused on you. Last year, New Jersey Credit Union saved New Jersey residents over $47 million. And did you know that now it's even easier to open a credit union account? With over 180 credit unions throughout New Jersey, there's a credit union that's perfect for you. Visit bankingyoucantrust.com today. Strong, safe, secure. New Jersey's credit unions. Banking you can trust.
We continue the chance for showers and thunderstorms this evening and through the overnight. Otherwise, it'll be mostly cloudy. Lows tonight in the lower to mid-50s. Partly to mostly sunny for tomorrow. Really a nice day. Dry, mild, breezy highs in the upper 60s. Next chance for rain on Wednesday. Whether it's beach or business, let Atlantic City Airport take you where you need to go. Spirit Airlines seasonal service is back to Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, and Detroit. Year-round service to Myrtle Beach and Florida locations. Book your flight today at hcairport.com. I'm meteorologist Dan Zarrow.
Today's Ask the Mayor program is proudly brought to you by the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority, building a better future for our region through strategic initiatives to reposition Atlantic City as a clean and safe, multifaceted, year-round destination and community. It's springtime in Atlantic City, and as April's showers give way to May's flowers, many exciting events are on tap, such as the annual Spirit of Hospitality Awards, the East Coast Gaming Congress, ShopRite LPGA Classic, and the start of Air Canada's seasonal air service between Atlantic City International Airport and Toronto, Ontario on the 22nd. In May, Boardwalk Hall will host the annual Mother's Day Music Festival, WWE Wrestling Live, and the first ever out-of-market Arena Football League game in history on the 30th when the Philadelphia Soul take on the Las Vegas Outlaws in the Brawl at the Hall. The CRDA's continued investment in Atlantic City celebrates the opening of Bass Pro Shops. Meanwhile, paving along Pacific Avenue is progressing daily. Tropicana is ready to debut its new 12,455 square foot Atlantic Care Life Center, and construction on hundreds of new housing units continues along the new retail shops on the boardwalk. It's great to be in AC.
Now, WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Mayor, presented by the New Jersey Casino Reinvestment Development Authority. It's your opportunity to ask Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian anything you want about the world's playground. To talk to Mayor Guardian, call 407-1450. That's 407-1450. Now, with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Hey, thank you very much, and thank you for joining us on our very special doubleheader tonight. This is the Ask the Mayor program. Mayor Don Guardian is going to join us in just a moment, but he full well recognizes that there are two equal branches of government. You have the executive branch, which Mayor Don Guardian oversees as the Honorable Mayor of Atlantic City, and you have the legislative branch in the city of Atlantic City, which we've been talking a lot about on Hurley in the Morning. They're the redevelopment authority in Atlantic City and obviously an equal partner to the mayor. So the mayor has freed up the first segment to be able to visit with one of the at-large city council members to talk a little bit about something that I think is a very big deal and could wind up generating a substantial amount of money for the city of Atlantic City. And joining us is Atlantic City Councilman at Large George Tibbett. We'll feather to Mayor Guardian within the next 10 minutes or thereabouts. Councilman Tibbett, welcome to Ask the Mayor. Good to be with you, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon, Harry.
Good to be with you. Let's talk about the potential to dissolve the Atlantic City Municipal Utilities Authority and what this would mean if you go this route.
Well, the DA, Arch Liston, and Kevin Lavin came to us last week. They've been talking about this for a while, and they want us to consider abolishing the MUA and bringing it back under the city, where it would give the city an opportunity to make a lot more money than what we've been making off of it in the last, since it's been the MUA.
Now, what would it mean when you say a lot more? What does it make the city now under the current relationship of having a municipal utilities authority? What does that mean if you make the change? How big a deal is this?
Well, it could be a very big deal. And when the mayor gets on, his administration, along with the emergency manager, came up with this, and they're saying the amount of money that can be raised, and the mayor can give these specific numbers, is going to really help the city as far as our budget issues go. We can't just expect to sit there and get state welfare for the city of Atlantic City and not do something ourselves.
And the city, I think one of the things that people want to take a look at, because sometimes states or cities or counties sell enormous assets for some short-term grab, and really over the long haul, really create a devastating situation, and it's just a short-term sort of, stopgap and not a long-term smart decision. Atlantic City, if you dissolve the Atlantic City Municipal Utilities Authority, Atlantic City would still own the asset, correct?
That's correct, Harry. And that's one thing that the mayor and city council both agree on, is that we don't want to sell the asset. We don't want a short-term fix. And then what happens a few years from now, when you have nothing left and you used all these short tricks to fix your budget, we want that asset for the next generation as well, to where this keeps paying dividends. And right now, a lot of people are very afraid, a lot of council members are very afraid that that there may be some type of underhandedness for politicians throughout the state that have been trying to grab the water company.
Yeah, I think
we're battling a mistrust thing here, and it's going to be very important for the mayor and Kevin Lavin to convince council that A, we're not selling the asset and we're keeping it. We're going to increase the income coming from the MUA going directly to the city to help the taxpayers, and B, that the workers, the everyday workers out there that run the water company, are out there digging the holes out in the middle of winter, are going to be okay. So we're anticipating a full briefing, a complete briefing from the mayor and the administration on that shortly.
Councilman, while we still have you here, and Mayor Guardian is here as well, Mayor knows we've been talking about the potential to dissolve the Atlantic City Municipal Utilities Authority, and from a revenue standpoint, what that could mean to the city. What I've been hearing is that would be under the guidelines or the framework of the city keeping the asset, not doing one of these deals where like you sell your lottery to somebody and you lose it forever for 5 minutes of fame. Mayor, is that what you want?
No, absolutely, Harry and Councilman. That's exactly what we're talking about. For some reason, years ago, they decided to form an authority. I know they were popular, but when you form an authority, then you have a board of directors, and so you have volunteers that are political appointments that get a salary and benefits. And you have an executive director that's appointed politically as well. The water is one of the most important resources that the city of Atlantic City has. I got to praise our forefathers for understanding that. The water is one of the best in the country. It rarely does it not come in number one.
People like to bottle it.
Absolutely.
Fill it up and leave with
it. It's a great water company.
Yeah.
Employees there, not a problem there, but there should be more efficiencies.
So what happens to the people?
So the authority becomes a utility, so it's completely under the city of Atlantic City. You got to hire everyone that's there now. Not top management. You got to hire the people that are working there. You do a study, and you determine, do you go out and find someone that has an expertise in running water utilities, or do you bring in, so when we say privatize, let me tell you what we mean. We're saying, does it make sense, and can you show me other cities that have brought in a company that knows how to run water, to run our water as a utility for the city of Atlantic City? What I don't want to do is fool the people, and this is what I'm talking about. In a lot of cities, they sold a water company, and so what happens is for 3 or 4 years, you have a moratorium, and everyone pays the same price, and they give you a couple of $100 rebate in your taxes.
Then for the rest of your life,
6 years later,
you're at the mercy.
You got it. So
now, Mayor,
water is very cheap, $40 a quarter for the average home. Great water, great supplies. It's really just about cost.
If you think about it, it is really one of the best buys in terms of doing business in Atlantic
Absolutely.
City. It really is.
Great water.
And, for the price.
Absolutely.
As you say. So let's just say,
Harry, absolutely. We're both the administration and council are on the same page on how we like to see it move forward. For years, that place has made a lot of money, and the city did not realize a lot of those revenues coming back to help towards the budget. It's only been the last few years that we've done from them.
Right.
And this is the way to go, especially when everybody agrees we're not going to sell it. We're a day worker that's out there busting their hump every day, and change is scary for people, but sometimes, change has to happen for the betterment of the city as a whole. And like I said, the state is not going to just without us using some of our assets ourselves. And this way, we protect our assets for our future. We protect them for the next generation as well. But we bring it under us, and we're able to get money. And Don, the mayor could explain to you how we can get more money out of this to help us with the short-term budget and not give up the asset.
That was going to be my question. Say, hypothetically, we would pull out of the sky that under the current authority of having a Atlantic City Municipal Utilities Authority that you could make $500,000. How much would you make if it was city run?
So Harry, I think it would be more effective for me to wait for the study to show you actually dollars that we're talking about.
But it's going to be substantial, right?
It's going to be substantial. Is there going to be increase for home residents? Absolutely not. I credit this water company and past city councils and past administrations for making sure that they have low cost of water passed on to our residential consumers. Now, on the other hand, we have some large consumers in Atlantic City. They used to pay 85% of our taxes. They now pay 49% of our taxes. If they have their way with tax appeals, they'll pay 40% of our taxes. That we can control.
And by the way, at the rate they're going to have their way with tax appeals.
If we don't have the bills that the senator hopes to bring on next month,
they're going to win again.
Next year, they're going to win again. And so you can't get the same services for half the cost. And so, yes, we're going to have a different structure of water rates for commercial properties in order to ensure that the residents receive the same low rates. And we've got to come up with a year that we're going to see coming from that utility that's going to go for tax relief.
My thanks to the mayor and also to the councilman at large, George Tibbett, for this soliloquy back and forth between the legislative branch and the executive branch. I think it's very healthy. I think it's a really great start to Mayor Guardian's program tonight. Councilman Tibbett, is there anything you want to share before we move on?
No, I just want to say goodbye and good luck tonight, Mayor. Have fun.
Thank you, Councilman.
Talk to you soon, Councilman Tibbett.
Okay, goodbye.
Thanks for the expertise. Because you've been this way from the beginning. That's what it's all about. Yep. You can't do it alone.
Nope.
They can't do it alone.
Nope.
You do it together.
We're working together. I'm very proud of the working relationship we have with City Council. And, it's rare that we're not on the same page.
There's so much news about Revel.
Yes.
And I know how serious this is for you and obviously for everybody in public safety to think about a towering inferno with no fire suppression.
Yes.
I mean, it's got to keep you up at night.
Right.
Honestly, even though there's not all that many people in the building, if that building catches on fire, your people will be in that building.
Yes.
So this power has to get on.
It has to come on. And so, as everyone knows now, on Thursday and early Friday, thanks to Senator Whalen, other people that want to remain anonymous, they were able to talk to our friends over at Wells Fargo, the bank, as well as the old Revel owners. And they're saying, listen, we've got to help ACR and Polo North come to a solution. But the key is getting the water on, getting the electric lights on for emergency, perimeter lighting, and certainly the aviation lighting on top of this tower.
Is that $300,000 that Wells Fargo will put up? Is that a 2-week Band-Aid? Is that all it is?
I'm not sure. I know that they're talking between 2 and 4 weeks is what they think the cost will cover.
Do you kind of feel
but it buys a little time.
You're right. If we get the power and the water back on, do you just get that feeling that it'll stay on?
We're trying to save the building, and we don't want any damage. We know once you shut off and you don't control the humidity, these buildings do not do well. So we want to preserve the asset that it is, and we also don't want to interfere. Obviously, I'm a Republican. So the point is, government should be only entering when they have to, but you want to let businesses solve their own problems. You have the ACR, which is the power company. You have Polo North, which now owns Revel. They need to come together and find a solution. This seems like an easy fix. $300,000 buys a little time, puts the two people together, see if we can find a solution for Revel.
Now, the new owner said that if he does not resolve the power issue, he'll liquidate the building and he will tear it down. As draconian and almost ridiculous over the top as that sounds, he did buy the former Miami Heat Stadium, and his plan didn't work out the way he thought it would. He tore it to the ground.
Yeah.
He could do that.
Right now, he's the owner of the building.
And if he liquidated that building, I think he could make more than the $82 million that he bought it for. And so it's not I don't think a stretch or a hollow threat that he might do that. That would be, to me, that would be abominable to see that happen.
So, Harry, I'm not a businessman, and I certainly don't purport to know what Glenn Straub is going to do or ACR. But I think there's a couple of solutions here. One is, yes, He could tear the building down, sell all the assets, and get his $82 million worth, and still have a valuable piece of property that now has the whole Southeast Inlet as a development for future housing, second home housing in Atlantic City that creates a new South Beach, a new Miami Beach Trust. That's one option. Number two is ACR is straddled with a lot of debt through the bonds. He has the funding. Mr. Straub, buy them. Buy 51%. That's all you need. Own 51% of the company and set the price on what you're going to charge Revolt in order to get power. And number three is find a new owner. Flip the building, walk away, get your money, get some profit back out of it. But I think because of what's going on, there's some interest that's back now on the table for the first time. I know that ACR straddled with a lot of debt. I know that they have some offers, both to Mr. Straub, and they actually had it for Brookfield to try to bring down the cost for a period of time.
Without the power plant, Brookfield would have bought the property.
Yeah, and I have to say that ACR came up with a plan, since it's not made public, I won't discuss it, but the concept was for X amount of months, we're going to be able to give you the power for the same as if you had Atlantic City Electric and South Jersey Gas. But at some point, we've got to recoup our money. So we'll let you buy it. We'll lower your cost as you're making a profit. You can't
let you get your legs under you.
But Brookfield wasn't count. They couldn't do it. Yeah. That's why Brookfield walked and lost $10 million.
Well, they saw the long-term future of $160 million worth of debt.
And was nervous.
Yeah, sure.
And nervous with the city and nervous about taxes, and rightfully so. Last year was a very tough year for us.
What I'm concerned about is as we have these mini victories that we've been enjoying where it looks like, Atlantic City, I've been calling it, has its mojo back and getting things done. Federal judge today granted Glenn Straub the ability to terminate these leases.
I know.
This looks like litigation hell coming.
I know.
I mean...
that's it. So,
okay.
That's Revel. But
I keep saying, is it ever going to open?
No. Well, you know what you have to think of, Harry, is we got all excited about Bart coming in. Bart Blatstein, that is, and stuff.
And don't you have every feeling that exactly what they say they're going to do, they're going to do?
Bart was with us on Thursday, and he was back again. Just before I came to this meeting, we met for another hour with his people, talking about the type of productions that he wants to produce for the beach and the boardwalk. I mean, this guy is way beyond just the pier. This is a godsend. This is the type of people we need to bring back excitement and bring people to Atlantic City. But let's look at it. Bart talked about it. Bart had given me a date for when he wanted to do a press conference, and then I get called 2 weeks before and said the deal is off and things like that. Caesars called and said we can't reach an agreement. We're going to be evicting them from our property and things. They sat down.
But then he had the Caesars president close to his heart. When he opened his jacket and the president CEO's picture was inside his jacket lapel, that was beautiful.
Yeah, and this is a good deal for Caesars. This is a good deal for Atlantic City. This is a good deal for Bart Blatstein.
It really is.
He brings in excitement, entertainment venue there. It's going to have not only that music pit for 2,000 people at the end of the pier where the fountains were. He has the 6 clubs, and then he has, I think it's called the Monkey Bar at the front there. So, 6, 7, 8 venues all coming at the same time, and for July 4th. This guy is really moving. But so we had that. Then the university was such a done deal. No one. We're just waiting for how many schools they're going to have and what the major is going to be. And the next thing we know, it gets stopped. Now I'm happy. You've got Herman Satkamp, our president, a great president of the college, sitting there at the table with Carl Icahn, with Bob Griffin, and trying to negotiate a deal. So like everything else, the time frame doesn't happen as fast as we want it to happen, but that has to come about again. Revel, the same thing. Nothing is easy. We were looking for a buyer. We got a buyer, and now we can't agree to how to get it powered.
And one quick follow-up on Straub Revel, then we'll go on to some other important stuff with Mayor Guardian. And don't you be shy, ladies and gentlemen. It's your show. 609-407-1450 phone lines are open. It's Ask the Mayor with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. We're at 25 minutes past the hour. 609-407-1450 phone lines open right now. And the mayor will be with us until a little bit past the top of the hour. Mayor, in terms of Straub and Stockton, I think we have to get out of the business of a covenant that says something has to be a casino hotel and a deed restriction that says it cannot be a casino hotel. Come on, that's madness.
Right. Agreed.
Okay.
No problem about that.
All right.
This is valuable property. This is our university district. Let's blow it out. Let's do this. Let's bring academia to this site. Let's get professors and staff living in Atlantic City and walking and bicycling to work. Let's get our first 500 students, build it out for 2,500 students that could live there, and let's build it out to the 7,500 students that we know that this campus could handle.
Mayor, are you going to be looking with City Council to bond money to pay the state back? Or are you waiting for the state to go back in session and hold off paying the loans? Where does all this stand?
Yeah. Right now, the first part of it has to be Atlantic City saying, we're not just talking about reducing costs. We've got 200 people less working for the city through attrition. Since January 1 of 2014, we're probably going to have another 200 people that are going to go through a layoff period, and that's going to happen. Can you not have 200 people laid off? Absolutely, but you need concessions from unions, from contracts that we have, not to have that. But we're down to $5 million, Harry. We did the $30 million reduction. We have to come up with $10 million more. We're able to find about $5 million in not paying bills, not buying things, but we still have $5 million to fill. So the layoffs are going to have to be out there. But as soon as I have some confirmation about this, by the end of this week, I'll call your morning show, because when we do have the layoffs, we have some very good news of how we're going to transition people into the private sector with jobs that pay as much or better with benefits. So it's going to be very interesting. I'll tell you who our partners are in the program, but we're very close. The next day or two, we're going to lock that in. Now let's talk about the state. The bills are real important. I know the state senator believes that he and Assemblyman Prieto on the House side are looking to bring these bills both before the Senate Assembly as early as May 15th. So it's real critical in going to the governor. And the governor has about $30 million of money. So there's $90 million. We provide 10. They're providing $90 million. They wanted to get some assurances, and that's why publicly we did the press release saying, absolutely, we're cutting costs. We're working with the state, with the casinos. We've got to make sure that we're avoiding bankruptcy and we're not increasing taxes. And then we had to actually submit that type of information to the state and said, here's the cuts we're going to make this year and next year. And if we don't make them, we understand the state's going to come in and make them for us. And in turn, you're going to help us get about $90 million. Now, how does it come? Right now, it's pretty simple. The bills before the Senate and the Assembly, we divert how casinos pay, and the $65 million that comes our way, another $30 million from the state. But there are other ways that the state could fund us without this. They could reduce some or all of the $40 million that we owe them. They could they could refinance, rebond the monies that they paid for the convention center, for Boardwalk Hall, for the walk, and allow us to keep parking fees or hotel tax or the luxury tax. That's $63 million alone right there. They could allow us to skip a pension payment because the state runs that. Those are decisions the governor has to make. But the governor is supportive. The president of the Senate, Harry, you're Politico. You know, you look at the history of New Jersey, at least for the last 150 years, nothing happens without the president of the Senate and the governor. And we have both of them in our corner rooting for us. And as I said before, we're a wounded cow. We're not a dead cow. And we need some help. And all we're asking is to keep some of the money we're sending to Trenton. And a very small percentage.
I love the analogy, and then we'll go to break. Wounded cow, not a dead cow. Wounded heading towards slaughter, or wounded heading towards healing?
Yeah, it's the cup that's half full, and we're going toward recovery. Bass Pro last week, the new health club opening up next month, Bard opening up the pier in the summertime, the Stockton getting back on track, and then opening up the conference center in the fall is all part of our recovery.
Mayor, Bass Pro opened gangbusters.
Yeah.
I was getting phone calls even days after they were open, lines waiting for when they weren't even open to start the day, people waiting to get in. Is it still doing brisk business?
Oh, absolutely. It's a candy store for adults. I love camping, hiking, fishing, hunting, and stuff like that. Place is fabulous. So when you get in there, now is the time to see it. I mean, as you walk in that lobby, you want your living room to look like this if you're an outdoors guy.
Mayor, estimates I've heard say that 1 million patrons will go through there per year.
That's it. That's
huge.
Absolutely. And 1 million patrons, Harry, that would have come to Atlantic City. Over the weekend, a couple of fundraisers, special events that I attended, I can't tell you how many people came up to me and said, I don't come to Atlantic City anymore. I love the outdoors. I came to Bass Pro. I had a great time, and I ended up at Vagabonds. I ended up at the Iron Room. I went down to the Irish pub. I went back to... my favorite pizza joint in town. I went over to Ducktown Tavern.
See, we lost the Convenience Gambler because obviously all the jurisdictional competition, but to get 1 million people back.
That's it.
And like you said, they're going to eat in our restaurants.
Yep.
They're going to shop. They're going to do these things. It's big.
When Bass Pro, it was certainly already under design and being built as I became mayor, but they came and said, is there any chance that we don't do a restaurant? And I said, absolutely. I would love to forbid you from doing a restaurant. I want you to make a lot of money, but then send the people out, let other people make money too and stuff. We got great restaurants, we got great bars and things, whatever you want, from the neighborhood bar to the classy place. Atlantic City has it. Let's share the wealth.
31 minutes past the hour. It's Ask the Mayor, off to a very, very, very big start here. Don't you be shy. Jump in, 609-407-1450. A lot more with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian live on WPG Talk Radio 1450. It's Ask the Mayor.
The WPG Talk Radio 1450 newsletter is yet another way South Jersey's talk station keeps you informed. Get the latest South Jersey news, community events, information on fun contests, links to exclusive YouTube videos, and more delivered right to your inbox.
Now that I've gotten on the internet, I'd rather be on my computer than doing just about anything.
To sign up for the WPG Talk Radio 1450 newsletter, simply go to WPG1450.com.
Today's Ask the Mayor program is proudly brought to you by the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority, building a better future for our region through strategic initiatives to reposition Atlantic City as a clean and safe, multifaceted, year-round destination and community. It's springtime in Atlantic City, and as April's showers give way to May's flowers, many exciting events are on tap, such as the annual Spirit of Hospitality Awards, the East Coast Gaming Congress, ShopRite LPGA Classic, and the start of Air Canada's seasonal air service between Atlantic City International Airport and Toronto, Ontario on the 22nd. In May, Boardwalk Hall will host the annual Mother's Day Music Festival, WWE Wrestling Live, and the first ever out-of-market Arena Football League game in history on the 30th when the Philadelphia Soul take on the Las Vegas Outlaws in the Brawl at the Hall. The CRDA's continued investment in Atlantic City celebrates the opening of Bass Pro Shops. Meanwhile, paving along Pacific Avenue is progressing daily. Tropicana is ready to debut its new 12,455 square foot Atlantic Care Life Center, and construction on hundreds of new housing units continues along the new retail shops on the boardwalk. It's great to be in AC.
WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Mayor, presented by the New Jersey Casino Reinvestment Development Authority. To talk to Mayor Guardian, call 407-1450. Now, with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to Ask the Mayor. Before we get to our first caller, and Al is standing by, Mayor, let me just do this unpleasant deed. And I want to do a disclaimer. I'm a huge fan of this individual, and I did break the story about the incident, and I took no pleasure in breaking the story, but it was news, and I know that Chief Brooks understood it, and I did it with as much dignity as you can do a story like this. I know it's uncharacteristic behavior for this honorable man, and I know it's a personnel, now a former employee, but still a personnel matter. But there is a matter, I think, of public interest, Mayor, in terms of the investigation is said that it will remain confidential. And I would like to ask you, is that confidential because litigation is almost certain, or is that confidential meaning forever?
Yeah. So I'm going to continue that. I don't know Chief Brooks well before I became mayor, but he spent 40 years on the fire department, honorable service, saved lives, put out fires, and I think he served 10 years on the beach patrol before that and things. A very unfortunate incident. He performed poorly. That's what the investigation showed. It would have required disciplinary action, but he retired.
Yes.
And so what happened is we had to send the investigation over to pension. That's the state board. And the state pension will determine if that should affect his retirement. But at this point, what I'm very proud of, Harry, is that although we paid a couple million dollars before we're over because of wrongful terminations, prior to my getting there, we've not had a single case of a wrongful termination. And so it was very important not to discredit the chief beyond his decision and what activity took place for that 60-second period, to judge it just by that, and to make sure the disciplinary action that we were going to take would not involve a lawsuit that I could say, I fired this guy, or some other stupid statement, and then the city of Atlantic City and the residents would have to pay $1 million to $3 million. We know what happened with the police chief. And so I think what has happened is the chief resigned. I think that was the honorable thing to do. He is retired, and now it's up not to me, but to civil service and pension to determine if his termination is on the activity that he performed.
I think it's a completely intellectually honest answer. If I could just press the one point.
Yes.
Will the results of your investigation, though, be confidential for a time period or forever?
For a time period.
Okay.
Until pension and civil service reviews it and either agrees that the action that we take in allowing him to retire with no other disciplinary action is sufficient, or if indeed we need to take additional action.
I get no vote in this, but right. I think he did do the honorable thing.
Yes.
He is a good man.
Yes.
It's uncharacteristic behavior. Yes. I think you handled your business very, very well. I think he did the honorable thing. He knew he couldn't come back after what he did.
Absolutely.
And it's my understanding, and I don't know it all, but I know a little bit about how this stuff works just from experience of knowledge, not direct experience myself. I don't have a pension or anything like that. But it's not like they can reduce his pension. He either keeps his pension or he would lose his pension. I don't believe they can reduce his pension.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what I said. I'll look into that a little bit further, but a very good source of mine said they cannot reduce it. They could take it, but I don't believe anything has occurred that he should. And I think that you did, as you usually do, you did a very fair thing
and
the way you handled this.
A good man made a foolish decision, and did the honorable
I also think you did a really good job in mitigating the future downside to the incident. Because once it happened,
right,
you can't unring the bell.
No.
But what you do from that point forward, damages could have continued to pile up.
Absolutely.
But they didn't.
Right.
He never returned back to work.
That's correct.
Following that incident.
That's correct.
And I think that's important for the public to know that. 609-407-1450 phone lines are open. Al, you're on the air with the mayor. Go right ahead.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, can you give a email address so you can receive any kind of information from your citizens?
Sure. It's my first initial would be D for Donald, and then my last name, Guardian. So it's DGuardian at cityofatlanticcity.org. And for that matter, if you know anyone that works for the city other than police and fire, it's the first initial, the last name at cityofatlanticcity.org. Look forward to your future emails.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Al.
Question asked, question answered. 609-407-1450. We have an open phone line for Mayor Don Guardian. How about Pacific Avenue? How long have people waited for Pacific Avenue to be repaired? And I've made it a point to go see the progress. The progress has been fantastic, Mayor.
Yeah. So as of this weekend, 50% completed. So the lanes closest to the ocean, so it would be the south side along the full length of Pacific Avenue is complete now. Now you've got to do the other side. So really good. In 3-4 weeks, they've done that side. So another 3 weeks of a little bit of pain, and the other side will be done as well. If you're over on Arctic, if you're on Fairmont, if you're on some of the side streets, the paving paving is going to continue if you're below MLK Boulevard. So if you're on the downbeat side, you'll see the streets continue to be ripped up for both water and gas and other underground utilities, and it'll be paved before summertime. Then if you're talking about east of Martin Luther King, which is going toward Brigantine and the inlet, that's going to be done in the fall, and it'll be completed by Thanksgiving. I don't know the schedule for Maryland Avenue, but that'll be completed by the end of the year as well. So I've said before, 20% of the city, more than has been done in 10 years, got paved last year, and you'll see the same amount. You'll see another 20% of the city paved this year.
And we've been taking a number of phone calls on Mayor Guardian's program about, I don't see the progress, I don't see it, or when is the progress going to happen? You have to see it now.
Yeah.
It is extremely pronounced.
It's only half there, but it's looking good. It's long overdue. I apologize to everyone, especially jitney drivers, who actually it costs them money. I mean, their transmissions and their shocks have to be destroyed by riding up and down Pacific Avenue. A lot smoother ride now.
We have several email questions that we're going to get to. I want to stay on this issue of the roads just for one more follow-up question with Mayor Don Guardian. And again, you can jump in at 609-407-1450 or email us your questions as well. Either tweet them or send them through WPG1450.com at our website for Mayor Guardian. And a reminder, this Saturday in the 12 o'clock hour, Sunday in the 12 o'clock hour, this program will replay. And of course, it's available on our YouTube channel on demand beginning tomorrow. Kyle gets it up there very, very quick at the WPG Talk Radio 1450 YouTube channel at WPG1450.com. My follow-up on the roads, tell me if this is true, whether you did it, or I think maybe City Council got involved too, that if you make 3 holes on any street, you have to pave the whole street.
Yep. Love to take credit.
I like that.
Can't take credit. City Council passed that before I became mayor.
I like that.
It's the best thing they ever did. And so from curb to curb, street to street, you rip up the street, you got to repave the whole street. And that's what a lot of cities do. We were just behind the curb now. That is the reason most of the cities being repaved, because someone said, how can you afford to be repaving the city when you don't have any money? That's how we're doing it. CRDA paid for all of Pacific Avenue, and South Jersey Gas really has paid for most of the others. We've got some federal grants that we have. That's where you'll see Maryland Avenue, part of Fairmont Avenue redone, but we're trying to get to all the streets. Now, I do have to tell you, Harry, if your street's not done in front of you, then, everything else I said isn't important, and we're just trying to get to everyone.
Mayor, email question from guest listener Jill, taxpayer in Atlantic City, homeowner. Mayor, can you explain how tax appeals work as far as how long they take, at what point the decision is made, and when they actually go into effect for the property owner? So if you were to appeal today, take it away.
You can't do it today. You had to do it before April 1st. If you do it today...
Say you've already done it.
Right, you've already done it. So it goes up to the county. The county reviews that information. As part of the appeal, I think it's $20 or $30 is the actual application cost. What you have to do is you have to list 3 other properties of similar size in your community, which is, within a block or 2 blocks of you. So, in my case, I'm in a condominium association. It's real easy. What's everyone else paying? That's what I should be paying as well. So it's based on what home sold for. And so I can tell you right now, last year we had 4,000 tax appeals. This year we have 5,000 tax appeals because the home prices haven't gone up. People got hit with that 30% tax increase.
Are we talking almost all winners too?
I'm sorry?
Are we talking about almost all of them are winners? Are they all winning their appeals?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for the homeowner and things like that, it's a no-brainer. Find 3 homes of similar size. If their assessed values is less than yours should be their assessed values. You win and stuff.
And of course, that takes the revenue down that the city has to run.
No question about it. Yeah, and that's why, when people say, how do you go from saying you only needed 80 million to 100 million? That's part of the reasons, because we looked at what the tax appeals were going to be and what the assessed values are. So we already assumed that we're going to be losing these tax appeals. I shouldn't say losing. What happens is people are going to pay what they should be paying. They were paying more than they should, and that's what a tax appeal is all about.
Yeah, it's rough on the town, but it's fair.
It is. It is, and of course, we just have to do a reassessment. So we have to do a revaluation. It's going to cost $1 million or more. It's overdue because we're using figures from 7 years ago, and the people I'm concerned about, people that are poor, people that are old, don't understand how to do tax appeals. They're still paying whatever the value was 7 years ago, and it's probably 50% too high. It's probably twice, it could be 3 times as high. Harry, my home was assessed at $300,000 7 years ago. I'm in a condo, a three bedroom, 2.5 bath, one car garage, a condo up in the Northeast Inlet, and they're selling as low as $100,000, $125,000 now. So it's lost 2/3 of its value. Now I have no complaints. I bought it at $60,000, and I got away until 7 years ago paying on $60,000. So I want to say my taxes went from $2,500 up to $5,000, then they jumped to like $9,000, and then with a tax appeal, you can get it down to maybe $6,000 or $5,000.
Brief time out. We're going to come right back. One more power segment. Straight ahead, it's 45 minutes past the hour. You're listening to Ask the Mayor with the Honorable Don Guardian, the Mayor of Atlantic City. Your phone calls are coming up when we come back. Caller, you're going to be next. Please don't you go away. Also, you can use your Twitter and just tweet your question, just like the Jitney guy. He's a very faithful viewer, a very faithful listener of our programming here at WPG Talk Radio 1450, including Ask the Mayor. So if you use the WPG 1450 using the hashtag WPG Ask the Mayor, you can do exactly what Jitney Guy did, and he has a question about staffing, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the hour. Your phone calls, your tweets, your emails, my questions, Mayor Guardian's important participation continues in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
WPG Talk Radio 1450 is proud to welcome the ShopRite LPGA Classic back to the Stockton Seaview Hotel and Golf Club in Galloway. And we want you to experience the tournament firsthand. Visit the 1450 Club at WPG1450.com for your chance to win a VIP package, which includes 2 tickets to the tournament in May, $200 gift cards to ShopRite and Callaway Golf, and a $100 Red Door Spa gift card. For your chance to win, visit WPG1450.com.
Today's Ask the Mayor program is proudly brought to you by the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority, building a better future for our region through strategic initiatives to reposition Atlantic City as a clean and safe, multifaceted, year-round destination and community. It's springtime in Atlantic City, and as April's showers give way to May's flowers, many exciting events are on tap, such as the annual Spirit of Hospitality Awards, the East Coast Gaming Congress, ShopRite LPGA Classic, and the start of Air Canada's seasonal air service between Atlantic City International Airport and Toronto, Ontario on the 22nd. In May, Boardwalk Hall will host the annual Mother's Day Music Festival, WWE Wrestling Live, and the first ever out-of-market Arena Football League game in history on the 30th when the Philadelphia Soul take on the Las Vegas Outlaws in the Brawl at the Hall. The CRDA's continued investment in Atlantic City celebrates the opening of Bass Pro Shops. Meanwhile, paving along Pacific Avenue is progressing daily. Tropicana is ready to debut its new 12,455 square foot Atlantic Care Life Center, and construction on hundreds of new housing units continues along the new retail shops on the boardwalk. It's great to be in AC.
WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Mayor, presented by the New Jersey Casino Reinvestment Development Authority. To talk to Mayor Guardian, call 407-1450. Now, with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Thank you very much, and welcome back. Mayor and I have been enjoying the same bug that's been going around. Tell me it is not the most persistent bug of our lifetime.
Yeah, when I was 16, I think they called it upper respiratory flu, and I had it for like 3 months. And then about 20 years ago, it was like every weekend I was sick.
That's when I had it 20 years ago.
That's it. And then now, this summer. So
a cough that will not stop.
A cough that won't stop. First time with sore throat, and then you get the head, then you get the chest, and then you feel good.
You start to feel good, then you don't feel good again.
Yep, absolutely.
And you just, what the key is, like you had to do, you have to knock it out.
I had to actually take 5 days.
You had to shut it down.
And shut it down. And I actually, I think I binged on, the English program with the castle.
Downton Abbey?
Downton Abbey. I watched 10 hours of Downton Abbey. I said, okay, great show, but after 10 hours, I'm done.
It's time to get back. Mayor, let's go back to a tweet from Jitney Guy. Jitney Guy, I know you're listening. Thank you for being there with us, and we appreciate your participation, both in listenership and also that you actually write into the program each month with Mayor Guardian as well. You touched on staffing, but this is specifically, have you made any cuts in the top management levels of city government?
Yeah. So let's start off with, I came in January. February 1st, the position of public safety director was eliminated, a very high cost there. When our director of emergency services retired, we didn't replace that individual. When the assistant director of emergency services retired, we didn't replace the assistant director of emergency services. When our director of health and human services retired, we actually did away with the division, did away with his position. So all were directors. In fact, if you look at now, it's getting closer to 200 people, but the dollar's not going to change. The average salary savings for the people that we lost to attrition, that we didn't return, is $101,000. So, we're not picking on some poor guy that's actually picking up your trash. We're taking out the most expensive cost to the city government. You don't see it right now. That's why we need the help from the state. But you'll see it in 16. You'll see it in 17. Because by that time, all of the other costs that are involved with retiring is going to come through. So those are the positions that we've cut. 45 police officers. I think I've told you before, Harry, and he's going to be retiring next week. Paul Barbera. Yeah. When the word is written, Paul Barbera and the PBA and Chief White saved this police department, because everybody else on a level higher than me thought that it should be dissolved. And these two guys did everything in that was possible in the shortest period of time to turn it around to a police department that we had people thinking that we should dissolve because they weren't doing a good job, to now being emulated and stuff. The programs they're doing, from body cameras to coffee with a cop to pizza with a cop to the PAL program, are being emulated in the rest of the state, and we're going to continue that. They just got their new CAD program, which is this computer networking that records crime at the same time and then presents the ability for us to be able to evaluate that, redeploy the police force that we have, which is a wonderful idea, and eventually prevent crime. I mentioned one of the directors. It's actually Office of Emergency Management Director that we didn't replace as part of it. So Office of Emergency Manager, the Director of Health and Human Services, and the Director of Public Safety, all key positions, and directors of departments that we had eliminated as they retired through attrition.
Matt L. is going to be next on our phone lines. Lillian is going to bat second. Let me give a question through WPG1450.com, an email that I'm just opening up, and it's from guest listener Elizabeth. Mayor, if we could only bottle the excitement and the positivity of Mayor Don Guardian and make everyone else drink the Kool-Aid, we would be in a far better place. Mayor Guardian loves Atlantic City. He loves its people, and that people should speak positive about Atlantic City every chance they get. I'm thankful we have the right man at the right time. Mayor Guardian, what is the, quote, next big thing that's coming with Bader Field?
I think there are three proposals that are very exciting, and I say that because there's long-term development for Bader Field, but we shouldn't be waiting 10 years for the economy to kick in. I think one of the great ideas is multiple sports fields. So we're talking 10 or a dozen lacrosse fields, football fields, soccer fields, some that are going to be under bubbles, so that we can bring in 10, 15, 20 towns, all to have a Little League championship at the same time. That's family entertainment at its best. In the cities, in the towns that have these type of parks, you're talking about 2 to 3 people coming for every child that's involved in the particular sport. So you bring 2,000 kids out on 20 different teams, and you bring 6,000 adults with them that come and enjoy the tournament. So I think you'll see that we're going to be vetting, listing all of the people that have applied. Again, 3 are really substantial, and their expertise somewhere else. But I think you'll see that coming quickly. So maybe a couple of fields in the fall, and then a whole lot for the spring and summer of next year. And then from that, you can build the marina out. You can put some condos there. You can think about putting a hotel. You can think of multi-use for Beta Field. But at this point, it's raising it to 6 feet with fill and building those first fields. And then, of course, these programs got to be made available so that residents and our children take advantage of them.
Very exciting. We continue with your phone call, 609-407-1450. Matt L., it's your time to ask the mayor. Go right ahead, Matt.
Hey, Harry, long-time listener. I called you once about refried spaghetti.
Oh, I know who you are, Matt L. Yes.
We'll get into that later.
All right.
I want to ask the mayor. Mayor, you're doing a wonderful job. I don't know if you remember my brother. He is Joe L.
Oh, of course. Oh, my God. Best coffee. I mean, he created the sense of place at Gardener's Basin. I would hang there. I didn't care for his coffee. I thought it was really weak, but I'd do a shot of espresso in it. But it was to meet all the neighbors and talk to Joe. And I can tell you for a couple of years, my partner and I would be out on the beach in the summertime, and he'd show up with a carafe of cappuccino in a thermos bottle, and we'd have a couple of cigars, and we certainly enjoyed the beach over at Crystals.
He was just a wonderful man, and we lost somebody.
Yeah. I'm sorry for your loss.
I have a question. Well, you just finished the one about Baderfield. We live, my mom has a house in Montpelier in the Bay, right across from Baderfield. So you've clued me in on quite a bit there. Now, we have, do you know where Joel lived at New Hampshire and Oregon?
Southeast Inlet, yeah.
Exactly. I have one of the homes right there in the same unit.
Keep it. Hold it. So we're talking about New Hampshire and Oriental.
My question, New Hampshire and Oriental. My question was, when these guys come through, is the city going to condone them to do, if they do come through, eminent domain and take places away? Or does the city have any kind of negotiations with these developers who come through and say, hey, negotiate with these people first and don't just come in and take away?
Got it. So one is obviously I'm pro-development. I'm pro-new business coming here and things like that. I'm absolutely opposed to eminent domain for anyone that's living here. So I as long as I'm mayor, I will never use eminent domain for residents to move them. You help fix it up. You make them part of the community and things like that. In your particular block, what a great tribute to the past. I think you need to find some funding for you guys, because it's not worth you putting the money in, but we need to give you new windows, doors, roofs, and you keep that. And as you have a future development there, you become part of the development. There's great bones in some of those homes along Oriental Avenue in New Hampshire. We lost everything else in the Southeast Inlet. I think it's worth trying to save them.
I agree with you. The older homes, they're beautiful, they're strong, they're big, and they have such character that I just hate to see these guys come through and just mow everything down.
And so, I just want to get on your pasta story. I love making pasta and things. So, every time
have you tried refried pasta?
Yes, I have. I want to tell you that, obviously, I roll and make my own gnocchi and things like that. I'm real good. Every time I see an older, heavy-set woman on 9th Street, I ask her for a recipe, and I have about 10 different recipes. So, when I make my pasta for ravioli, I make sure that I use white wine rather than anything else, because it makes it much lighter. And so, when you make your homemade regatta, when you shave a little bit of lemon zeal onto that piece of regatta cheese, and when you put the sliced mushroom that you cut with a razor blade and things, you're making the perfect ravioli. But you need a little bit of wheat, little salmonella, triple zero flour. If you're going to be doing spaghetti, or you're doing rigatoni, everything's a little different, stuff like that. And I'm a pasta guy. You could
be doing me too. I think everybody can tell I'm a pasta guy.
Yeah.
And I have a wonderful meal. I've been waiting for dinner since 2:30 this morning. I have a wonderful dinner waiting for me. Mayor, you could do You could do a cooking show with the way you just broke that down.
Absolutely.
You're like John Madden with the telestrator.
I can do a pasta, make your mouth water, and things like that.
Matt L., thanks for checking in, my man.
Thanks,
And
Matt.
we'll talk about the other topic when you're ready. You know where to find me. Lillian, go ahead. Ask the mayor.
Good evening, Harry.
Hey.
Good evening, Mayor Guardian.
Good evening, Lily.
Hi. I have a question for you. Who controls, or who regulates, I should say, the parking fees for the casinos, and who gets that money? Is it the leased out to someone, or do the casinos themselves take the money? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so casinos have to pay $1.50. It may go up a little bit more than that, but whether they give you the parking space for free or they charge anything, $1.50 has to go to the state of New Jersey. It produced a lot of money. We're talking about like $20 million a year, and it's used to pay off bonds for what is the walk for what is now the new convention center. That's
it's fun. Great reinvestment in Atlantic City.
It did some reinvestment.
It really did.
What happened is, and especially if we're talking about the $50 from Caesars, Caesars' point was they knew the air show was coming. They wanted to guarantee that the spot stayed for Caesars hotel guests and for Caesars visitors and things.
So in other words, if you really wanted to park there, you were going to pay it.
Yeah.
You were going to pay a premium.
So unfortunately, that's the punch in the nose that we got with that great event. So,
and sometimes you will see it 5, sometimes you'll see it 10, 15, 20.
Right.
And
so I mean, I have to understand that sometimes
well, they're not the parking garages for special events either, in all fairness.
So we have to look at the future, and what we did is we impose now a $5,000 fine if you raise the fee above the $10 level and you don't notify the city. So you have to notify the city before you can raise the fee. The city has been pretty liberal with about $20 for it, but that should be the tops there. I have to tell you that we're looking at trying to bring in a parking utility, just like we're bringing in a water utility, and when we do that, we'll bring by a private company to manage it, but it'll be the city, but we'll coordinate parking all over the city. You'll have a tiered rate, so Atlantic County residents will pay a much lower rate for parking than for residents of the city, and we certainly want to take advantage of Trump Plaza Garage. So if we have a private developer like Bart Blatzing that says, I'm on it, I want to open up this garage, I want it reasonably, that's great. If not, as a parking utility, we'd like to lease and purchase the Trump Garage, because I think that's a wonderful location for Boardwalk Hall to guarantee that we have safe, well-lit parking.
Nice revenue center for the city, too.
A great revenue center. We'll tie it in with vacant lots that we have.
Very good.
But you won't see a large increase in parking for residents, but you will see for guests.
Lillian, thank you for your question. I want to get Archie in to end the program. Let me squeeze this in, though, while we're talking about fines. Is Mr. Straub still being fined the thousands of dollars every day?
Yeah, $5,000. It's the state of New Jersey that requires it. And Harry, it went back to it. It's incredibly dangerous. We can't send our firefighters into that building. It just would be.
If there was a fire, would you have to let it burn?
I think I think we would have to hope that ACR would jump in and restore power
to fight the fire.
To fight the fire.
Which I would hope. Which they would do.
That would happen.
I don't speak for them, but they would have to. Let's get in one more call. It's Archie. Time to ask the mayor, Archie. Go right ahead.
Hey, 2 great guys for Atlantic City, Harry, you and the mayor. Look, I appreciate you both.
Very kind.
Thanks, Archie.
I don't have a dog in the hunt relative to the police chief. I don't know him. I don't know much about it. But whenever I hear that...
And you mean the fire chief or the police chief? Which do you mean?
Oh, the fire chief.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I said, I don't
want to,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But whenever you hear as a citizen that, well, we can't operate or we can't talk about it because it's a personnel issue, well, for God's sake, what isn't a personnel issue in this world?
What, Archie, if you noticed, I even pressed the mayor on this, and he said it's confidential for now. It's not going to be confidential forever.
Right.
And let's be honest, there's already somebody has announced litigation. It's a matter of litigation. So believe me, as much as I am picayune about transparency, when something is literally in the early litigation phase, this is a very normal answer.
Yeah, I know. It's just as a citizen in Ocean City sometimes, they go into private sessions on stuff that...
which should be public session. Here's the thing. If the mayor's answer would have been it was going to be confidential forever, then I would have continued to press. But it's confidential for now.
I appreciate it. But that kind of stuff rankles the average citizen when you can't get.
I understand that, Arch. The more that you can disclose to people, the better off we are. I think you can talk to reporters and ordinary citizens when they come in. They say, "I'm going to Oprah you for something." I say, "You don't have to do it. We're going to photocopy and give it to you."
Yeah.
But we're not trying to hide it. We have to do some things that are confidential because of a labor or a disagreement. But once the situation is finished, you got to make that available to the public.
Archie, thanks.
Well, like I said, both of you guys, we greatly appreciate your help.
Thanks for your leadership, Archie. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Take care. Mayor, final minute. This was like a tour de force.
Yeah.
Unbelievable hour. Final minute. Closing comment.
Always great to be on WPG Talk Radio, 1450 AM. Harry, it's always good to be on your show. Thank you for everything you're doing, for your morning shows, and for bringing light to what's going on. We're kind of like in the middle of the war. We've lost the battles for about a year and things. Now we're winning some of the battles and things. It's tough. Transition is going to be tough, as we said, but we've got to move ahead. And where we're going to bring our city is going to be the great new places and things. It's going to be an exciting place to live and work. We're going to actually get people to want to live here again. And we're going to have people, and if you go through some of the things that are happening this summer, you're going to come down, you're going to have a great summer and stuff.
Multiple fireworks.
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff.
Our forefathers built this place to let your hair down and have a good time, and that's what we got to do. We got to give you a great time in our city, a reason to love my city.
30 seconds, and then we got to run, Mayor. Hard break. And we'll go to the Fox News at the top of the hour. We'll be followed up by Mark Levin. And believe it or not, I'll be back in just a few hours. And we have a great Tuesday morning in store for you. I interviewed Resorts Casino Hotel President Mark Giantonio the day before yesterday.
Great guy.
Great guy, great ambassador for the city.
Absolutely.
And he is really excited about this spring and this summer season.
He sure is. He's turned around resorts. It just shows you what you do when you put the right development. Blew out the window so you can see the ocean once again. The guy was at the polar bear swim himself. He dove into the ocean with his guest on January 1. What he's doing there is just wonderful. If you haven't been back to resorts, you're going to be thrilled.
Mayor, we will see you in May for the next Ask the Mayor. Talk to you on Hurley in the morning before that.
Thank you.